Hi guys, welcome to Pretty and Pretty. Hanna here. Today I'm doing a VR to the awesome, the cutest thing ever, James Feeney, to his hashtag My Tarot Card Community. And this was a video that I watched late at night when I was coming home from, I just came home from Lapland. We've been driving for 12 hours, I was exhausted, and then this was the last thing that I did that evening. I watched this video, and man, even though I was so tired, I couldn't sleep really easy that night because my brain was just going on and on about how would I put people into the cards on the YouTube channels that I do watch. So my thought process started that night. And to be honest, this wasn't an easy task to do. And James had a lot of great channels, and I was honored to be there. And I was actually kind of surprised how well James already knows me. There were some things that he said when he was talking about my card that I kind of could take even back to my childhood. So that was kind of amazing. The way I wanted to organize my list, my 16 YouTube channels, I'm cheating again because I seem to do that a lot when I'm doing VRs. Sorry James, I know you can handle it. But I didn't only want to choose tarot channels because I wanted this video to kind of reflect the overall YouTube world that I'm following on a daily basis. So there are going to be channels that are not linked to tarot per se, but the majority is. And also it was hard because some cards could have had several candidates, so it was hard to fill all the places, and all of these are coming from the good aspects of the cards. And most of all, I wanted to address the cards on the way that how these people make me feel when I'm watching their content. And I also wanted to choose as many cards from decks that I immediately can link to those people. Some of the decks that I would have wanted to use, I didn't have, so I had to use the second best option with some people. But let's get on with it. And let's start with the suit of wands. And let's start from kings to pages, or knights to princesses. However, because there are different cards from different systems. Here's the first card. It is the King of Wands, and it's from the pagan other worlds. And the King of Wands in my YouTube channel list goes to Papa Squirrel. And why to Papa? So, as far as I've understood, YouTubing is his job, his business, what he does. And he's so passionate about it. He puts so much effort and energy and fire in it, and he's all about branding, and he uses an insane amount of time for editing, doing all the details and putting all his fire into that, and I respect that. His channel is overall as quite different as some of the other channels, but he's always looking at new decks and doing like a lot of deck reviews and things like that. And he's inventive and trying to create new ideas all the time, but most of all for his passion for what he's doing, Papa gets the King of Wands. Then to the Queen of Wands, and this was a kind of a harder channel, harder person to decide on what card would I give her. And the Queen of Wands, coming from a Thoth deck, and just because I don't have the Triomphe de la Luna deck, You guessing already? Yep. This one goes to Anna at Astro Lady Tarot. If I would have had the Triomphe della Luna, I would have chosen that. But I know this is a good one for you. So why I'm saying that it's hard to choose a court card to Anna is that she could be so many things. There are so many different sides in her, even in her content. But she does have such deep passion for tarot and things occult, and she's going deep, and she's fierce and going forward, making Patreon, making things, you know, growing all the time. And that's also kind of why I choose to go with the Queen's energy with Anna, because I think that she still has a growth process going. We haven't seen, you know, what her king level yet, and I'm excited to see that, because she's growing all the time with her content, and I love that. But she's a deep driller, and her mind, Anna could have easily had a lot of the Swords energy also. So, but then I decided to go with the Queen of Wands. Then we are jumping away from tarot per se for a second. We are jumping to the Knight of Wands. And for this, I chose the card from the Knight of Clubs from the Keymaster Tarot, just because I wanted to include this amazing deck, and I didn't know what deck to use for this. The series that these guys, there's actually two guys, are doing, and they are called Brian Kane and Levi Rowland, and it's called Covendom. And they are Alexandrian priests, and the channel is kind of super fierce and amazing. And these two guys, they are just, because as I see the Knight of Wands, the air fire, and these guys, they are brilliant, but they are like really fierce and just big personalities. But they are talking about, most of all, on the topic of witchcraft, and as an initiatory witchcraft per se, because they are both Alexandrian priests. And both of them are actually published authors. I'm currently reading Brian's Kane book, and I will talk more about that later, but it's been a really good book. But that's a channel that I do watch a lot, because I love, they have these long talks. They can be like 2 hours. They have callers calling in, and they talk about all things around the topic of witchcraft. But that's a channel that I wanted to give to the Knight of Wands. Then the channel to Princess of Wands. Again, I wish I would have still the deck to use. So this is the second best deck for this princess. I would have chosen to use the Tarot of the Mythical Forest. Is that the thing? The one with the piggies and the foxes. You know already who I'm talking about? Yes, Kelly Bear. I did buy that deck. She inspired me to get that deck, and I trimmed it, but I ended up selling it because it just didn't speak to me. But I remember Kelly Bear doing a series a year ago or something when she was reading the Tarot Illuminati book and working with it. So that's why I chose this deck for her. And Kelly has been a channel that I've been following since I started my path in TarotTube. And why I chose the Princess of Wands is that she's also a person that does what she wants. She's sparkly and again fierce. I seem to put that word a lot in the suit of wands, but she says what she wants, and she does what she wants, and she's bubbly and kind of sometimes all over the place, and I love her for that. But she has been a channel that I've followed since I started, and I love the authenticity and how kind of feet on the ground she is. And I think that she's always being open in that pagey or princessy way. And I love that. I don't feel that she has these walls around her. And I think that she's really authentic. And those are the things that I love in Kelly Bear's channel. And she does a lot of things, you know, that also kind of gives me that princessy page energy, that it's going to different places, trying different things in. And she's also creative, a really creative person. And one day I'm gonna get me a Kelly back for my decks for sure. But she does a lot of things. But that creativeness also is why she is in the Suit of Wands. Then let's jump to the Suit of Cups. And again, we're starting from the King and coming down the suit or the courts. And this was a hard person to choose a deck for. I didn't know what to use, so I went with the Star Child. And the King of Cups for my Star Child tarot is not a tarot channel, but again a witchy channel, and it is Thorn Mooney. And her channel, it was again a harder channel to or person to choose just one court card. But why I went with the King of Cups is that she's kind of so balanced. There's also a lot of earthiness to her. Like she has her feet really on the ground, even though her channel is kind of big when it comes to these, well, these circles anyway. But she is wise, she is committed, she is a Gardnerian high priestess, and she is an author. Her first book was amazing. I just read it. It was a really good book about for seekers into the initiatory witchcraft. So I really loved that book, and I can't wait to get her second book. But that's not all. I love her videos. They are short, snappy, but filled with, you know, there's always a message there. And that's kind of the king energy that I have, that it's so balanced. So she kind of knows who she is. I think she has reached that level that she knows who she is and accepts who she is. And she's not judgmental or like, what's the English word? Like snobbish, like there's no, it seems that she doesn't have some liquids rising up to her brain. So kind of feels like she's really stable and emotionally intelligent also, on top of her, you know, she's highly intelligent person any case, and well read, and so, but I think that she's also emotionally intelligent. So that's why Thorn Mooney is my King of Cups. Then to my Queen of Cups, and this is from the Ancestral Path Tarot. Again, a person that I was kind of had to wonder for a while what deck to choose, but this is for Jennifer Pearson. And why I chose this deck is because she kind of inspired me to get this when we were doing some past life working together. So, and why Jennifer Pearson, why she is the Queen of Cups, the Water of Water, is because even her voice, it is soothing, and she's always so compassionate and kind and willing to share and guiding me in a really motherly type of way. I feel that I can ask her anything, and she is always willing to help and give her time and put her effort in it. And her pace is a steady rhythm that she has. but I feel that I can approach her anytime with anything, and she would listen and understand and give me some good advice. So that's why Jen is getting the Queen of Cups. Then to the Knight of Cups. Again, struggling with the deck choice, but I went with the Tabula Mundis. Oh, the incense is vibrating here. It's hard to focus with the incense burning there. But the Prince of Cups, because it is a toss based. But that card goes to Will at Atypical Tarot. And why do I want to give him the Heir of Water? And Will's channel is amazing. Why I wanted to choose the Suit of Cups is, again, a bit similar with Jennifer, is his voice. His voice is so soothing, so calming, and also why I chose the Prince or the Knight is that he's been really brave in his channel while he's been talking about his earlier path and his big life transformation on his path on becoming who he now is, which is kind of different, a lot of different what his life in the past used to be. And I love those stories. And he's also really active on his channel, doing a lot of videos about different tarot cards, and really good educator. So that's why the Heir of Water, because of the brain, but also the emotions. And I love how openly he has been sharing things. So I admire Will a lot. And then to the Page of Cups. And this page is from the Cosmic Cycles Tarot. And there's a little girl making these clay cups with the, is it called a tray in, I don't know what's it called in English, but you press it with your feet and it turns out and you mold your clay. And this card goes to Candy. Candy at Soul and Soil. And even though Candy is already a grown-up woman, why I'm giving her the page is that Candy is one of the sweetest YouTubers I know. Her energy is like cotton candy, and I always refer her only with the candy emoji even on YouTube, because I think that it suits her so well. But she is creative, she's artistic, and she's eager to learn and always so curious and so positive, and I think that she has a lot of this Page of Cups energy in her, that, you know, kindness and emotion, but that willing to learn and that attitude in life, like in a positive way, like sucking things in like a dry sponge and just growing and growing. But I love that she is so creative and colorful, because when you look at me, there's not like a lot of cotton candy on the outside, even though there might be some gooey toffee on the inside, but I love the differences, and that's why I wanted to choose this specific card, because I thought it is the cutest Page of Cups that I could find. And so is Candy, the cutest Page of Cups on the YouTube tarot community. Then let's jump to the realm of air and swords and start again with the King of Swords. And I'm choosing the King of Swords from the Fountain Tarot for this one. And again, we're jumping away from tarot and jumping to astrology. And I'm talking about Chris Brennan in the Astrology Podcast. And I just couldn't do a video talking about YouTube without talking about Chris Brennan. He is brilliant. He is my biggest inspiration on learning astrology. I am attending his Hellenistic astrology course. I have his huge book on astrology, and I love that he has these regular guests like Austin Kopak and Kelly. Kelly Surtees and other guests coming on the podcast, but that show is just simply brilliant. So if you're interested in astrology and haven't seen, I guess that anybody who's interested in astrology has seen Chris's channel, but I just couldn't choose a better person for the King of Swords than Chris. He is so wise and he uses his words so well. And even for a Finn, I can learn hard stuff from him because he is such a good teacher. And the way he speaks with that calm, steady King of Swords level brilliance. He knows his stuff, and that's, I guess, what makes him the great teacher on the topic of astrology. Then we are jumping to the Queen of Swords, and the moment I'm getting out the deck, the Afro-Brazilian tarot deck here, you might guess who I'm talking about. And of course, my Queen of Swords is Saturnarium. And why I chose the Queen of Swords for her is, for one of the reasons is that she is super intelligent, but also super deep. She has the qualities of air and also water. She has it all. She is an amazing witch, but also an amazing tarot reader and amazing astrologer. She's so knowledgeable, but so warm, so, I don't know, just great teacher, but also a brave soul. She does these amazing things that kind of feels like dreams to me. Her whole world far back there in Brazil it's so far from my everyday reality as it can be, but still I relate to her with such coral level. And one great example of her amazing bravery is her trips with ayahuasca. How much she is willing to do to go deep and do her own work for her personal growth. Also her studies in Buddhism and whatever, but I don't know, she's done it all, and she's an amazing occultist and an awesome friend. So but Saturnarium could have easily had several court cards, but I went with this one. Then let's jump into the Knight of Swords. But we are going with the Mythology of Fenwick Tarot. So we do have the Elk of Hisi here this time, as depicting the Knight of Swords. And this card goes to Lennon. Lennon Smith, she identifies as an air witch. So that's why I went with the suit of air. And she's also, why I did choose the air of air is that because I know how much the element means to her, but she's also really interested in reading and books and learning, and such a sharp mind and enthusiastic and passionate and emotional, so that forward going kind of knight energy. That's why I can see that easily in her. She is such an inspiration that she could easily be in the suit of wands, for example, but I think that the passionate, rapid air energy is such a fitting to her, and that's why I chose that one to Lennon. And Lennon does a lot of deep, intelligent videos and talking about so many different topics. And she is also creative and inventive and brave and tries new things. So that's why we went with the Night Scale in her card. And then the last card in the suit of swords or air is the Page of Swords. And this one is coming from the Light Seers. And this one goes to Manuela at Place of Stillness. And to me, this Page of Swords with Manuela represents her sharp mind, her organizing skills, how you know, she's the tech wizard that I contact every time I need to ask something, like uploading videos on YouTube or anything. She is brilliant, and Manuela she's so different from me in so many ways, that she's organized. She's a person who does lists and does them well and with high quality, but also she has new ideas, and she's brave to go for them and try and do it out. And she's also, why I chose the Page energy for her, is that she surprises me a lot. If all of these people on this video, I think she surprises me the most, because first you might have a different idea of her and you feel like you kind of know her, and then she says something that totally blows your mind and you see another side of her, and that's what I love. And I can't see what her growth story will be like on YouTube, because I feel that path is only starting, and starting with a nice pace. Then let's jump into the last suit of Pentacles or coins, and the King of Pentacles. This one from the blue box Rider-Waite-Smith goes to Simon at Hermit's Cave. The point of this video is not to be shout out for new channels, and I feel that those videos are great and useful and amazing, but I wanted this video to really represent the core of my YouTube watching, the channels that I have followed since the beginning, and the channels that are part of my daily or weekly YouTube habits. And Simon is the first one that ever was on my, I think he's the first channel that I subscribed to. And of course I couldn't choose any other deck than this one to represent Simon. So, but why the King energy? Why the Pentacles? Well, he is so grounding. One thing that I've mentioned in several channels is the voice of the YouTuber, but Simon has a calming voice, calming presence. He is wise and wise in an accepting way. You can see and hear the years that he has on this path of personal growth and the world of self-searching and growing. And of course the suit of Pentacles. When you think of Simon's deck, those tarot decks that he has, no one deserves that title better. If we think about Pentacles as the suit of things that we own. So with over 500 tarot decks, I think the title of King of Pentacles is an easy choice. But he has been a big inspiration for me, and I believe for many, on finding new decks, learning about new decks, but also one bigger thing than his huge tarot collection, I think, is his heart. Because Simon is all about community, and he's created for example, his Facebook group is one of the friendliest and nicest YouTube groups that I've ever been to. He's always welcoming and kind and trying to do his best, and he also gives so much. That's why I feel the King of Pentacles energy fitting to Simon, is that he always is willing to give to the community. For example, during the lockdowns of COVID, he's been doing this popcorn streams that have been, I know, really helpful to many people to have something in their life, interaction with other people during lockdowns. So that's why I wanted to add Simon's channel here, even though he doesn't need the recognition in that way, because his channel is huge and I think everybody knows him. But I just felt that for me this video wouldn't be complete if Simon wouldn't be mentioned, because he has been such a big core on my YouTube experience so far. Then to the Queen of Pentacles or Discs this time. This is the Queen of Earth from the Shimmering Veil Tarot. And this one goes to Kasha, a tarot map. And why this deck? I could have chosen several decks for her, but because she inspired me to get this deck. And this deck has become so important to me. So that's why I wanted to choose this one for Kasha. And why is Kasha being represented by the Queen of Earth? The water of Earth is the softness that she has. I know a lot of her taste in tarot decks might not match for mine, but I feel a lot of this motherly energy in her. This warm and welcoming and embracing energy, even in the decks that she uses and the things that she works with. But she's also down to earth and really easy to take contact with. And she's always there and always present and always welcoming. But I don't know, kind of the abundance vibe of the Queen of Earth fits Kasha, how she makes me feel. Then with the Knight of Pentacles, we're going Le Tarot Noir. So we do have one Marseille deck also in this video. And this one goes Cavalier de Deniers or something like that. Sorry, my French sucks ass. But this one goes to Ren. And why do I give the Knight of Coins to Ren is the earthiness and bravery that she has. I think it's so funny. In one of her videos, Ren says that she's been doing these witchy things since 1983. And I was 1 year at that year. So I think that there is a long path. But I think that she has this brave quality where she has accepted who she is and knows who she is and is really okay with what and who she is when it comes to her personality or her practice. But still there is this, why I went with the Knight, is that she kind of feels like the eternal student, that she is always willing to learn and willing to see and willing to try and accept, even though she knows herself well. But she doesn't feel like her path has already ended. I think that she has this feeling of journey still in her doings. And I love how calming she is. I definitely feel the earth energy in her videos and also her comments on YouTube and however. She's just really kind of genuine in a way. Like, this is me and that's enough. And the thing that she always says at the end of her videos, and when she ends her videos with the sentence, "I wish you enough," I think that is such an earthy thing to say. So that's why I went with this card. And then finally, after all the other court cards, we are coming to the last card. And for that, I could not have chosen anything else but the Princess of Discs. This is, first of all, the court card that me is the best representation of the earth of earth. Like the earthiest card comes from Thoth, and this is it. And this one goes, without a doubt, to the inspiration of this video, to James Feeney. So, last but not least, and why I'm giving the Princess of Discs to James is that, first of all, I love the fact that how young he is. That, James, I know you're gonna hate this, what I'm gonna say, but I always say to him that I could kind of be your teenage mom, and he hates it. But that's true. He's so young. But James's channel is the one that I can go to however I'm feeling. If I want to calm down, if I want to relax, if I want to center, he does that for me every time. And he's just amazingly brilliant for his years. I can't imagine how young he is and how much he knows about, when it comes to tarot and magic and whatever. But also not only the book knowledge and the knowledge of what tarot cards are, I don't mean that, but also that spiritual knowledge. When I was his age, I didn't know jack shit about things like this or anything else. I was, spiritually, you couldn't even compare us with that age. And I don't even still feel that I've reached the level where James is, like spiritually, even though he's kind of almost half my age. But he is a kind soul. And the way he talks, the way he is always really calming, but also really wise beyond his years. And why I went with the Princess of Discs is that she is in Malkuth. She is in the world that will live. And James kind of also feels that he's approachable. He was actually the first person that I ever did a tarot reading outside my own family. I reached out to him then and asked, could I do a reading for you? And he was so welcoming and helpful and, open for it. And those are kind of the qualities that I feel that are really positively earthy. And when it comes to deck choice, of course I couldn't choose anything than a Thoth deck for James. But also one thing in James and being the Princess of Discs, he's spreading the good. He often does videos like this hashtag is, where he's spreading the love and trying to, bring also other people up. He's not one of those who thinks that when somebody else gets something, that it's somehow away from him. I think he's a person that when everybody grows, it's a positive thing. So James, even your court card was the last. It was the main card of this. And I'm trying to fit my hands around this camera. I can't, to give you the hug that I wanted to give you when you did this tag and when you spoke about so beautifully about me and all the other YouTubers. Feels like you really put your heart and effort in it, and that you know those people and what you're talking about. And that's why, out of the respect for you and the other content creators that you spoke about and that I spoke about, I tried to put as much effort as I could even though I'm struggling with finding the good words in English for some reason to really experience how I feel about these channels. But I hope you can get the main point why I included these people into this video. But that was my quite variable tarot card court. Only 2 decks from the Thoth deck made it here, so a lot of variation, but so are in the channels. And sorry for cheating and not having only tarot channels, but I wanted this to represent the way that my YouTube watching is going, so I wanted to have other channels represented too. I want to give big shout out to all these people. Thank you for the great work you are doing. I love your content, and all of your channels have given me a lot. And also to the other YouTubers that, you know, didn't make this cut. I do watch a lot of other channels also, but I tried to distill this one, as with the court cards, to the essential channels that have been there for me for the longest time. And thanks, James. This was a great hashtag. I hope to see other people doing VRs for this. Until next time. Bye, guys.